And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Chase Race number 4 of the NNSCRA Mobil1 Cup Series here in Season 5. We are continuing on our race weekend here from Loudon, also known as New Hampshire Speedway, as we get ready for the running of the Snapple 300, a 30-lap event getting ready to take place here at a track that can, I guess, be considered somewhat a short track. It really isn't, but it's got a lot of short track qualifications to it, characteristics to it. So, we could call it a short track. It really is a speedway because it is a mile long, but, I guess we could call it a short track. But we do have actually a short track that's going to be coming up here in our 8th chase race, a literal short track. So I guess we really should call this a speedway. On the pole for this race is going to be Dylan Young. Dylan Young, of course, a winner a couple weeks ago at Atlanta, trying to look for his second win of the season. Alongside of him is going to be Jordan Davis, who is still trying to find victory lane here in the Mobil1 Cup Series. Zach Buchanan, former winner of the season, lines up in third, and alongside of him, last week's winner from Supercell, that is Danny Wells, a two-time winner now this season, looking for his third win of the season and second in a row here today. Let's talk about some of the chasers that are in this field. The closest ones are up in row number 4. That's where Tryphon Reed sits in 7th for the start of this race. Tryphon is currently 7th in the point standings. I believe he is a total of 34 points out of the lead. And alongside of him, James Silverfox, who is a total of he's a total of 38 points back from the top spot, and he is 9th in the point standings. Then there's Joseph Bryant alongside of Richard Johnson there, completing the top 10. Joseph Bryant, 10th in points, really needs a good run to get himself back in championship contention. I believe the points leader is actually rolling off from position number 11, Ralph Mason, if my eyes are not deceiving me right now. Ralph Mason comes into this race with a 6-point advantage over Eric Burton. Then it's a total of 21 points back to Trent Dunham, 22 back to Shaun Gallighan, and then 24 back to 5th in points, Kyle Sosnowski. So right now it looks like the best battle is going to go on between Ralph Mason and Eric Burton for the points lead today. However, if both Mason and Burton end up finding problems, we could end up having Dunham, Gallighan, or Sosnowski be the new points leader atop the chase standings. Time to get these cars rolling off. They're going to complete a couple pace laps. While they do that, we will show you your starting grid for today's race. Let's try and see if that is Ralph Mason. Yes, it is Mason rolling off from position number 11. Eric Burton rolling off about 3 or 4 rows behind him. So they're going to be pretty close to each other for the start of this race. As here's your starting lineup for today's race at New Hampshire. Dylan Young starting on the pole for this race. We're going to have to see how that's going to pan out for him. We had in our Truck Series race that the guy who was out in front and dominated the race gets screwed due to pit strategy and a untimely caution. What's going to happen here today? We're about to find out as the green flag comes out. We are underway here at New Hampshire in the Snapple 300. Oh man, Zach Buchanan all over the back bumper. Dylan Young making contact. Dylan Young getting turned. Dylan Young is sideways up into Jordan Davis, and he saves it, but Zach Buchanan did not. Zach Buchanan is around. The caution is going to come out. How Dylan Young kept a hold of that thing, I will never know. He bounced it off Jordan Davis and kept it going. Zach Buchanan, however, was not so lucky as his car snapped around right in front of the field, and that's going to bring out the yellow as they'll drag race to the line. Outside line, going to get that big run off of 4. Jordan Davis is going to be the leader of the race here on the very first lap. Mark Thomas sits idly on the back straightaway. Austin Ogo, chaser, could mathematically be eliminated from the competition for the championship. Now, with this poor run and getting involved in this incident, Luke Martin is involved. There is what's left of the Zach Buchanan machine. What a tough break for him. He was inside the top 10. Felix Graves is involved as well. John McNamara has got some damage, heavy-duty damage to the front of his Dollar General Toyota. I don't know who else may have been involved. Looks like there could actually be some damage to James McLeod, as well as third in points Trent Dunham. Looks like there could be a little buck on the hood on that Chevrolet. As we look further up, Chambers there. He looks like he got through it okay. There's Eric Burton. Looks like he's all right. And there's the points leader, Ralph Mason. So it looks like there could have been at least 6 or 7 race cars that were involved in this one. This happened right up at the front of the field, and what an incredible save by Dylan Young. Zach Buchanan nearly pulled off a save as well, keeping us under the green flag, but it was not to be. Yellow waves for the first time today. Let's take a look and see what happened. Well, how close up at the front was this? Well, it was a battle for the lead almost. Look at Zach Buchanan right into the left rear of Dylan Young, and how Dylan Young was able to hang on, I don't know. Right about there, when that 6 car snapped around, I thought it was over. I thought the whole field was going to get involved, and Zach Buchanan, unfortunately, not able to save it right up into Felix Graves. Look at James Silverfox. He nearly got collected in that. He does get a little damage on the right front, but it could have been much worse for that chaser. There's Austin Ogo. He gets spun up in front of somebody. I don't know who. Joseph Bryan got spun too. Let's rewind it a little bit. Oh, man. McNamara's own teammate's the one's going to flip him over. Let's see what happened first to Joseph Bryant. It's a championship contender there that was involved along with Austin Ogo. It looks like Joseph Bryant, when they were trying to slow up to avoid Zach Buchanan, he's going to get turned around off the nose of the points leader, Ralph Mason. And Bryant going to go down. He's going to get the very corner of that inside retaining wall. That is not an easy lick to take, and that's right in the driver's side door. There you see Austin Ogo get turned around. I think that was courtesy of James Qualls. And as he goes around, he's going to get plowed into right there by his own teammate in John McNamara. That is a hard hit for the 18 car. Fortunately, it was the passenger side door that got most of the impact. There's Zach Buchanan trying to get by on the high side. And then we saw Mark Thomas. Is there something? Oh yes, I was going to say, is there something that happens further up here? Somehow Luke Martin flips over. What happens here? Okay, this was coming out of turn 2. But Luke Martin is going to have some contact made between himself and Riley Ogle. Ogle got into his right rear, and then he comes down right in front of James McLeod. And then watch this. I didn't think this would flip the car over, but it did. That one hit right there from McLeod is enough to send Luke Martin barreling on his roof. Look at Trent Dunham. Oh, Trent tried to go underneath the 99 and just couldn't fit it. He got the 99 right in his windshield. And then here comes Mark Thomas. Nowhere for him to go. He's going to get a big chunk of it. Slides straight up towards the outside retaining wall and actually rides along the outside retaining wall for a little bit. And he was not able to actually drive away from the incident. The impact was so hard for Mark Thomas, who had a runner-up finish last week to Danny Wells. Certainly nothing like that going to happen today for him. A poor finish going to come his way as he gets hit then by the guy that started this whole rigmarole, and that was Zach Buchanan in the 7. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing, but we're going to go take a few onboards with some of our chasers. On board first with Joseph Bryant, who needed a good run today to keep himself in championship contention. And that car just stopped dead. I think that could be the end of Joseph's race as well as his championship hopes there, as he really clobbered the corner of that inside retaining wall. On board now with rookie Austin Ogo. Let's see what he saw. And there was the hit from his teammate McNamara, and Austin Ogo's car remained on its roof before it did that magical teleportation to pit road. What a tough break for Ogo. That car didn't really look like it had that much damage, though, even though it did get T-boned. He may be able to continue, but off the lead lap. Don't know for certain. We'll find that out in just a moment. And now on board with former Mobil1 Cup Series champion Trent Dunham. Does a great job getting through this incident, but watch up ahead. All of a sudden, Luke Martin's going to come into view, and oh man, that was, as I said, right in the windshield for Trent Dunham. That is awfully, awfully scary. I don't know how bad the damage is on the Sega Chevrolet, but obviously a mighty scary incident right there with Luke Martin and Trent Dunham. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing, Jordan Davis, by virtue of the high side when we took the green, he was able to get around Dylan Young, and he is out in front. Young's going to line up in second for this restart. Third will be Danny Wells. Fourth is Jacob Lawler, with Trapeman Reed, the highest running chaser, in fifth place. There was Austin Ogo. I thought he was going to be able to continue, but he is going to be down off the lead lap. Ralph Mason, the points leader, is currently up in sixth. Seventh is Richard Johnson. Leah Walker, eighth. In ninth place is Jake Rogers, and Drew Austin completes top 10. You got Sean Henley in 11th, Shaun Gallighan in 12th. Lily Erickson runs 13th, Kyle Sosnowski in 14th, and Dylan Poteet completes top 15. Then you got Eric Burton 16th, 17th Jeremy Finguy, Charles Jackson 18th, 19th is Barney Ward, and 20th is Jake Baskinger. The rest of our chasers, Chambers is going to be in 21st, Nicole Williams is in 23rd, Silverfox will restart in 26th, Trent Dunham is going to restart in 29th place, Wydose Avotas 31st, and that's going to be it for the chasers. The green flag comes back out, and then of course Austin Ogo, who's scored in the 39th position, and I believe he is a total of at least one lap down. Yes, he is. He is 2 laps down to the leader. Joseph Bryant, Luke Martin, and Mark Thomas have all gone back behind the wall. I think we can safely say mathematically Joseph Bryant has been eliminated from competing for the championship this season. Jordan Davis able to get around Austin Ogo. Dylan Young, though, not as successful as he's side by side with Danny Wells for second. That's big for Jordan Davis. It's going to allow him to stay out here, lead a few laps, and really not have to worry about any battling for the lead. Now, what he needs right now is to hope a caution doesn't come out, and I think a caution is out. There's no, oh no, there isn't a caution, but there was a spin in turn 1, and it involved, I think, Trent Dunham and Wolfgang Mason, and now they're slowing down up here. Wait a minute, I think, is the caution out? The way they were running didn't look like there was. Oh, now there was a spin in turn 4. Smoke in turn 1, a little smoke in turn 4. Caution's out, and I'm not sure who it actually came out for. Not rightly sure who the caution came out for, but we are under the caution now. And Jordan Davis is going to be the leader again. I know that the one incident in turn 1, I think, involves either Trent Dunham or Wolfgang Mason. I'm not sure. Maybe the 2 incidents took place with one of those cars and then the other of the cars. I don't know. We're going to find out in just a moment. Try and settle this all out. So I saw smoke in 2 separate locations. Not sure which one actually brought out the caution. Jordan Davis is out in front. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, before we go to those replays, looks like we got an indication of coming to pit road. That's indeed the case. We got pit stops going on here on lap number 8. So let's stick around and see what's going to happen. Look at how far back Dylan Young is on these yellow flag pit stops. That could be big for Jordan Davis. That kind of track position coming down pit road could help Jordan Davis, even if he has a slow stop, to beat everybody else off pit road. However, keep in mind, if they go with a 4-tire stop, somebody may gamble with a 2-tire stop. If they go with they go with a 2-tire stop, somebody may gamble with fuel only. Going around on the right side, they're going to go with at least 2 tires. Let's see if they're going to go for a full 4. Yes, they are. Dylan Young just ahead of him. They're going with 4 tires. Let's see if anybody else is going to try and beat Jordan Davis off pit road. Not at all. No contest. Jordan Davis going to be the leader, leaving pit road. Second place off is going to be Dylan Young. Danny Wells third. Jacob Lawler fourth. Then it's Reed, Mason, Walker, Austin, Gallighan, and Lily Erickson. That's going to be the top 10 as they leave pit road. Jordan Davis is going to still be the leader. Austin Ogle will probably make his pit stop now. So we show what put us under the caution for the second time today here at New Hampshire. Well, here's a look at what I believe was an incident that did not bring out the yellow. This was the smoke in turn 1. Rohit Vidarva going to get into the left rear of Wolfgang Mason. And right there, You can see where the car kind of does a little bit of a hop up in the air. That is where he gets loose. That car snaps around on him. No way he can save it. Wolfgang goes up, hits with both the right rear and right front of his Dodge, and that's going to cause him with some damage. But you can see that the lights are still green on the wall, on the track lights, and so that did not bring out the caution flag. I believe it was Trent Dunham who did over in turn 4. Well, 3 wide usually doesn't work here at New Hampshire. This is not a track really built for 3 wide racing, and they tried doing it here. McLeod tried sticking it down in the middle and going to get into the left rear of Trent Dunham right here. Trent Dunham going to go around, and he's trying to save it right there. You can see where the car snaps around on him. No way he can save it. And he goes up and into the outside retaining wall. So Trent Dunham, who tried to continue on with the damaged race car after nailing the flying Luke Martin not too long ago, now gets involved here, getting spun in the turn 4 area, and that was the incident that actually brought out the yellow flag here for the second time today. Let's go back to green flag racing. Green flag's going to come back out here on lap 12 of 30. That should give us a total of 19 to go here today. Jordan Davis is the leader. Dylan Young second. It's the way they came up pit road. Danny Wells third. Jacob Lawler fourth. And Tryfon Reed fifth. Ralph Mason sixth. Seventh is Leia Walker, rather. Drew Austin is in eighth. Shaun Gallighan ninth. And Lily Erickson completes the top 10. Dylan Pote at 11th. 12th is Kyle Sosnowski. 13th, Charles Jackson. 14th, Sean Henley. Jake Rogers 15th. Jeffrey Fenguy 16th. Eric Burton is in 17th. With Chambers 18th. The rest of the top 20 are Justin Williams and Barney Ward. 21st, Richard Johnson. 22nd, Nicole Williams. 23rd, James Qualls. Baskinger is in 24th. Riley Ogle 25th. 26th is James Silverfox. Haruchi Shami 27th. Wydose Avotas 28th. 29th, Rohit Vidarvu. And James McLeod is in 30th. 31st, Cole Daly. 32nd, Michael Norman. 33rd, Chris Kyle. 34th, Felix Graves. Wolfgang Mason will restart 35th. The caution coming out for Trent Dunham. He'll restart in 36th. Then it's Zach Buchanan 37th and John McNamara 38th. Still 1 lap down, or 2 laps down, 39th. That is Austin Ogo as the green flag comes back out. Nobody retiring from the incidents that took place there, bringing out that caution flag. Danny Wells right there was going to the inside of Dylan Young. Almost got into the back bumper of Austin Ogo. That could have been trouble. As Jordan Davis, again with the high side and 4 fresh tires, is going to get around. And Danny Wells just got wrecked. He's in the wall. Lawler and Tryfon Reed are involved, and that is a huge pile up there. Danny Wells flipping. Lawler on his roof. And Tryfon Reed gets a big chunk of it, as that's going to put us under the yellow flag again. And this time was a lot of front runners up inside the top 10. As a matter of fact, I believe they were running 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the time. And that just completely changed what the top 5 looks like here. Oh my goodness. And I think it was Lawler who got into Danny Wells. I don't know for certain. They were all trying to get around the slower lap car of Austin Ogo. And it just had drastic results. Jordan Davis leads again under the caution flag. Let's take a look and see what happened. That's a tough break for last week's winner, Danny Wells, getting involved here when he and the other 2 involved were running inside the top 5. I believe one of them was a chaser in Tryfon Reed. Let's try and see how this starts here. Danny Wells was in the 3rd position. Lawler was 4th. Tryfon Reed was 5th. They'd been running in those positions for most of the day. And oh my goodness, yet Danny Wells comes up, or Lawler comes down, I don't know which, and up into the wall they go. Look at Tryfon Reed, nowhere to go. And Danny Wells goes up into the catch fence. Lawler up on his roof scraping against the outside safer barrier. And boy, we are really lucky they did not come back down the racetrack in front of everybody, because that was literally right up at the front of the field. The drivers who were 3rd, 4th, and 5th on that restart all involved in wild rides for Danny Wells and Jacob Lawler. And boy, I don't know how bad the damage is on the Tryfon Reed machine, but this was the last thing he needed to have happen, especially running inside of the top 5. Well, we're now past halfway already. We've worked 3 caution flags. First one coming out for quite a few incidents that took place between turns 1 and 3. Second one coming out for 2 spins with Wolfgang Mason and Trent Dunham. And this third one, probably the most important of all, when we had 3 drivers who were running inside the top 5 for a majority of today's race all get involved over in turn number 3. As a result, drivers that are out of this race include Austin Ogo, Danny Wells, and Jacob Lawler. Those three, or no, Lawler's 2 laps down rather, but Danny Wells and Jacob Lawler, they are out of this race. Tripe and Reed's continued. We've also got word that Jake Rogers and Dylan Poteet, are they out of the race or are they a lap down? Poteet and Rogers are out of the race. I'm going to keep that in mind. We're going to go back and see if we can find out what happened to Poteet and Jake Rogers, who have both taken their cars behind the wall for some reason. The top 10, we go back to green, are Davis, Young, Walker, the points leader Mason, and Drew Austin. Then it's Sosnowski, Jackson, Gallighan, Erickson, and Henley, the top 10. Very confused as to what could have happened with Jake Rogers and Dylan Poteet. They did not come down pit road at all during that caution flag, so it wouldn't have been an incident on pit road causing problems for those two. And I don't think it was any mechanical problems either. We haven't seen any mechanical problems all race weekend for any of these drivers in trucks or here so far in this Mobil1 Cup Series event. I'll tell you who Jordan Davis' best friend right now is, and I don't really think he's trying to be his best friend, but he actually is as far as his ability to keep everybody at bay, and that is Austin Ogo. Ogo, being that lap car there on that inside line, has really played havoc for whoever has run in the second position. As you see Dylan Young still struggling to get by that 18 car. Ralph Mason, the points leader, starting to get into the fray there as well. And Jordan Davis just enjoying the view. Look at this, about 8, 9, 10 car lengths down the front straightaways. There's Ralph Mason, the points leader. Boy, what a day he's having. Doing a great job keeping his consistency up. James McLeod just made a pit stop there. They're about to bypass him. He'll fall off the lead lap. McLeod, of course, with some pretty extensive damage after he flipped over the Luke Martin machine earlier on. You know, we've been talking about chasers that have had bad days, such as Joseph Bryant on Austin Ogo and Tripe and Reed. How about the chasers that are having good days? One of them being there in Ralph Mason, but how about Kyle Sosnowski right behind him? Sosnowski 5th in points and currently running 6th on the racetrack. A great day for the 3-time winner here in the Mobil1 Cup Series. And how about the guy who finished runner-up in the Truck Series race here yesterday? Shaun Gallighan there in the 9th position. A very nice run there for the 64, even though he does have some visible damage on his Aspendental Toyota as well. But he's trying to lead with yet another consecutive top 10 finish, currently 4th in the points. As we mentioned, the guy who was trying to run down Ralph Mason for the points lead today, Eric Burton, back now in the 13th position. We haven't really talked about him all day. He's been outside the top 10 this whole race, now trying to get himself in there as he works on the Justin Williams machine. Adam Chambers right behind him, 6th in points. Chambers is 14th on the racetrack right now. And we talked about Joseph Bryant, Austin Ogo really needing good runs to keep themselves in championship contention. You can say the same for Nicole Williams. Currently 16th place is where she's running, side by side with the lap car of James McLeod. Nicole Williams is currently 11th in the point standings. And according to my calculations, she has a total of 56 points from the points leader, Ralph Mason. So right now, that gap is not exactly a good thing. She's definitely got to get a good run today, at least a top 10, to try and at least keep close tabs with the current championship points leader. There's Tripe and Reed after his incident that took place there, bringing out our last caution with Danny Wells and Jacob Lawler. He's currently in 19th place, so that's not exactly that bad a spot to be running after the incident that took place. Apparently the damage is not that terribly significant. He still is up to speed, and he's getting challenged right now by another chaser in James Silverfox. Silverfox right on the brink as well. I mean, he's a total right now of, I believe it's 38 points out of the top spot in the standings. And so, you know, he's got to finish at least top 10, top 15 to at least keep within striking distance mathematically of the championship leader, Ralph Mason, as well. I think ever since the chase started, the one driver we would really not mention is Wydose Avotas. And we mentioned him every single week whenever we went to a race during the regular season because of the fact that he was really dominating the points. Now, since the reformatting with the chase, Wydose Avotas has not really done very much to make himself championship worthy at this point. He has really not been up at the front of the field a lot. He has not been leading a lot of laps. Well, Wydose Avotas has seemed to, since the chase started, lose that spark of consistency and his ability to get up there to the front regardless of perilous circumstances. So Wolfgang Mason, or not Wolfgang Mason, Wydose Avotas, currently running in 23rd. He really needs to step it up if he's going to have any chance at having the chance at the championship this season. And I'm not rightly sure why my computer is lagging, why my game is lagging. I apologize for that, but Jordan Davis is going to be the leader still, and it looks like that lead he had over Dylan Young may be slowly beginning to dwindle, as Dylan Young has actually been able to get around Austin Ogo, as too has Ralph Mason, as has Drew Austin. So while they are currently running like this, we have a total of 5 laps to go. Why don't we quickly jump back, see if we can find out what happened to Dylan Poteet and Jake Rogers that didn't put us under the caution, but had those drivers DNF. And then we'll come right back for what could be a 2-lap shootout here for the finish. Well, we finally found out what gave Dylan Poteet his damage. He was in 11th place, too. Watch here coming off of turn 4. This was coming down to the caution. Contact between Gallighan and Lily Erickson. Now we know where Shaun Gallighan got his damage from. And right there, it was from Poteet running into the back of his 64. That was coming down to the stripe. Notice how Gallighan slides across the start-finish line. That was what saved him from losing a lot of spots. And Jake Rogers, nowhere to go, runs straight into Dylan Poteet. Those two, pretty extensive damage to their race cars, and that was why they retired. We had that incident coming down to the start-finish line to put us under the caution flag. Oh, Richard Johnson there in the 38 got a big chunk of it, too, in the Shell Pennzoil Chevy. I didn't see that. And that is why Dylan Poteet and Jake Rogers both took their cars behind the wall, and why we didn't realize it. There was an incident, a follow-up incident after our latest caution, which took place at the start-finish line. Now let's head back for the finish of today's race, as they are still green flag racing. We're on lap 28, total of 3 to go, as they just took the 3 to go signal. Battle going on for second place behind Jordan Davis right now. Ralph Mason trying to finish today, at least runner-up. Maybe have a chance to run down Jordan Davis, but the way that Davis has been able to dominate today's race, I don't think that's going to happen. And unlike our Truck Series race, drivers are not making pit stops here with like 3 or 4 to go. So I don't think pit stops are going to come into play in this. So Jordan Davis, right now, all he's got to do is just keep hitting his marks. He's got a nice advantage between himself and Dylan Young, who has been able to clear Ralph Mason and keep the second position. 1.5 laps to go for Jordan Davis. We talked about Jordan Davis. He has not had a whole lot of success here in the Mobil1 Cup Series as far as wins go. His first Mobil Cup Series win could come today if he can make it around for 4 more corners. Out of turn 4, Jordan Davis, the Texaco Haviland Ford Mustang, receives the white flag. Jordan Davis just 4 more corners away, and the caution is out. The caution is waving. I thought we'd get back to the green, or back to the checker flag via the green flag, and apparently they're going to end this race under the yellow. Regardless of that fact, I'm pretty certain that Jordan Davis would have won this event, whether it stayed under green or was under the yellow flag. Jordan Davis, undoubtedly the dominant car of the day, and fortunately for him, he did not come down pit road. We saw some drivers on pit road there. Haru Tashima's on pit road, Drew Austin on pit road. Fortunately for Jordan Davis, he did not pit, and that could have cost him like it cost Adam Chambers in the Truck Series race. But Jordan Davis, today, right prevails. The dominant car of the day is actually going to go to victory lane. And for the first time this season, in his rookie season, Jordan Davis is going to have a win in the Mobil1 Cup Series as he comes down. Jordan Davis is going to win the Snapple 300 at New Hampshire. Great victory right there for that team. A team that really was up inside the top 10 for a majority of the regular season. Just barely missed out on making the chase. Currently sits 15th in the points. And finally, after a lot of near attempts, near successes, Jordan Davis and that 2018 finally are going to go to victory lane here in Season 5. As always, we're going to show you your top 10 finishing results, with Jordan Davis winning today's race. Dylan Young going to finish in second, a nice runner-up spot for him. The points leader, Ralph Mason, the highest finishing chaser today, in third place. He will keep the points lead heading into next week at Atlanta. Charles Jackson going to get fourth place. I don't think we talked about him hardly at all today. Leah Walker, she's going to get fifth. Lily Erickson, nice run for that rookie, in sixth. Kyle Sosnowski going to finish today in seventh. Nice run for him. He's a chase contender. Sean Henley going to finish in 8th. 9th place is going to be Jeffrey Finguy, and Eric Burton, second in points, going to finish in 10th place. He finishes a total of 7 points behind Ralph Mason, so I believe that means it's going to be a 13-point advantage that Ralph Mason will carry with him over Eric Burton into next week's event. Let's take a look and see where the rest of the chasers finished. Adam Chambers gets 11th. Shaun Gallighan is 12th. 16th place is James Silverfox. Nicole Williams in 17th. Wydose Avotas finishes the day in 20th. Then you got Tripe and Reed finishing a lap down in 25th place. Trent Dunham, he finished a lap down too in 33rd. Austin Ogo, 2 laps down in 35th. And then Joseph Bryant retired from today's race in the 40th position. Undoubtedly, his chase hopes may be snuffed out. Same could be possibly said for Austin Ogo, even here in only our 4th chase race. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become a part of the crew today. Congratulations to Jordan Davis once again on his first career Mobil1 Cup Series victory, coming here today at New Hampshire. Here comes the official finisher results, overall points, rookie points, and your chase points heading into next week as we head to Atlanta Motor Speedways, as we got the Stickers Cup Series race coming up here next to finish off this race weekend before we head to Atlanta Motor Speedway for weekend number 5 in the chase for the championship in all 3 series. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.